Good morning, everybody. I'd like to thank OED for giving me this opportunity to address the current situation of health claims globally. And I just want to mention I have these new glasses and I'm still adjusting to them, but it's amazing, really. What we're going to do today is really take a tour around the world. And we're going to make multiple stops and look at the current regulatory framework and what's permissible and what's not permissible regarding the long-chain omega-3 fatty acids. So starting with Canada, which is where I'm from, in Canada, claims are regulated under Health Canada, and we have two different directorates that deal with foods and dietary supplements. So the Food Directorate looks after claims made on food labeling, and the Natural Health Products Directorate looks after claims made on natural health products. And so what we have here are the categories of permissible claims, and those highlighted in yellow are those for which we currently have claims related to the long-chain omega-3 fatty acids. So in Canada, we currently have nutrient content claims and nutrient function claims for long-chain omega-3 fatty acids. And under the Natural Health Products Directorate, we currently have structure function claims, risk reduction, and therapeutic claims. And Canada is quite unique because it is one of the very few jurisdictions globally that actually permits therapeutic claims, so lowers triglyceride levels, for example. And those types of claims in other jurisdictions like the US and the European Union, for example, are not permitted. They're considered drug claims. So that's kind of a nice claim category in Canada, which is unique to Canada and which is possible for both foods and dietary supplements, or what we call natural health products. So if we look a little bit more closely at these permissible claims, we see the nutrient content claim, you have a source of or contains or provides omega-3 polyunsaturated fatty acids, and you see the condition for use of that claim in the right-hand side of that table. And also declaration of quantity claims are also permissible. So X milligrams of omega-3 fatty acids or DHA and or EPA per Y serving. We also have a single nutrient function claim related specifically to DHA. DHA, an omega-3 fatty acid, supports the normal physical development of the brain, eyes, and nerves, primarily in children under 2 years of age. Now, when we look at claims that are permissible for natural health products, you could see there's a much wider variety of claims. And a lot of these are listed in, well, all of these actually are listed in what's called the NHPD fish oil monograph. So again, there's quite a big difference between the US and Canada in how they regulate and oversee dietary supplement-like products. In Canada, it is a requirement for somebody who is selling a natural health product to submit an application to the Natural Health Products Directorate proving the safety, the quality, and the efficacy. And so these claims here are coming from the actual fish oil monograph. And if you're compliant with all of the requirements of the monograph, all you have to do is, prove the quality of your product. And so here you could see the list of claims that are permissible. So you could say something as simple as source of omega-3 fatty acids for the maintenance of good health, helps support cognitive health and or brain function, helps support the development of the brain, eyes, and nerves in children up to 12 years of age, which is quite different from the food claim, which is up to 2 years of age, helps maintain or support cardiovascular health, helps to reduce serum triglycerides, in conjunction with conventional therapy, helps reduce the pain of rheumatoid arthritis in adults, and helps to promote a healthy mood balance. So quite a nice variety of claims that are possible. And you can see from these permissible claims that, in fact, the scientific requirements for substantiation of claims made on natural health products, the scientific rigor required is a little bit less than what would be required for foods. So now we're going to move on to the US. And when we look at the US, again, there's 3 broad categories of claims that are permissible: nutrient content claims, structure function claims, and health claims. And again, the ones that are highlighted yellow are the categories for which we currently have claims permissible for the long-chain omega-3s. So we're going to go through each of these in a little bit of detail. So nutrient content claims, probably as all of you know, nutrient content claims for EPA and DHA were notified to FDA under FDAMA. And 3 companies submitted separate notifications under FDAMA for the long-chain omega-3 fatty acids. The first was submitted by the Seafood Processors Association in 2004, then MarTech submitted one in 2005, and then Ocean Nutrition notified also in 2005. And legally, the FDA must, if they object to the claim, they must respond within a 120-day time period, and they did not. And so because they didn't object to the notifications, the proposed nutrient content claims are permissible. Now, one point to highlight, FDAMA claims are only permissible on foods. They're not permissible for dietary supplement labeling. In 2007, the FDA issued a proposed rule to prohibit the nutrient content claims for EPA and DHA. However, until publication of the final rule, the FDA is not going to take enforcement action against the claims. In other words, currently, the situation is you can make nutrient content claims for the long-chain omega-3 fatty acids so long as the claims are compliant with the claims that were notified. And here are the claims that were notified by the various companies. High in DHA or EPA for the Seafood Processors Association, and you could see the condition for the use of the claim is quite a high level. You need at least 130 milligrams of EPA or DHA per reference amount customarily consumed. MarTech and Ocean Nutrition both submitted notifications for excellent source of DHA in the case of MarTech, and for Ocean Nutrition of DHA and EPA. And here you could see that the amount required to carry these excellent source or rich in or high in, they're all synonyms, is at least 32 milligrams of DHA per reference amount customarily consumed. And you could see in parentheses, this was 20% of the daily value. Well, where did this daily value come from? The Institute of Medicine did their review and found that you needed about 1.6 grams of ALA. And that was the adequate intake for ALA. And then the IOM then went on and said, well, you can get 10% of this from the longer chain omega-3s, EPA and DHA. So if we take 10% of 1.6 grams, which was the AI for ALA, we get 160 milligrams. So currently, that's kind of the daily value that we're using for EPA and DHA with regards to the labeling of these claims. You should know that good source and source of claims are not listed here. The only claims permissible are excellent source, because those are the ones that were in the notifications. Now, the next claim group that we can talk about are structure function claims for EPA and DHA. Now, as again, most of you know, FDA does not review these claims, nor do they approve these claims. For dietary supplements, however, a 30-day post-market notification must be submitted to the FDA, notifying them of the claim wording. In addition, every time the claim is used, a disclaimer is needed that this statement has not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. These requirements, however, are not required for any structure function claims made on foods, just dietary supplements. The claims must be truthful and not misleading. And you know, in early 2010, the Federal Trade Commission, which is basically the federal, a federal government body that looks after food, labeling, not just of foods, of course, of all products in the US, they cracked down on omega-3 claims that were being targeted towards children. And the types of claims they were looking at were products that claimed to improve, enhance, support children's brain function, learning and learning ability, intelligence quotients, memory, mood, visual acuity, and eye health. And really, the bottom line was that companies must have scientific substantiation that the amount of long-chain omega-3s provided by your product is effective, and that it's effective in the population group that is the target of the claim. And this whole crackdown was initiated by a product that was making claims related to brain and cognitive function that contained 0.1 or 0.05 milligrams of DHA. So really important to make sure that the science and the claim wording are congruent or consistent. So next we look to the permissible qualified health claim in the US. For those of you that are not from the US, the US is unique in that, if a claim does not meet their very high, significant scientific agreement standard, however, there is some credible evidence for the claim, it is possible to petition them to look at a claim we called a qualified health claim. And qualified health claims use language to communicate to the consumer the degree of scientific evidence for the claim. So the claim here, supportive but not conclusive research shows that consumption of EPA and DHA omega-3 fatty acids may reduce the risk of coronary heart disease. And then there's a requirement to declare how much, or how many grams or milligrams of EPA and DHA the product is providing. Now, this qualified health claim does not have a minimum effective amount. The FDA was not able at the time to derive what the daily value needed to be to achieve this effect. And so there is no minimum. However, there is this maximum that's been put on the amount of EPA and DHA that can go into supplements and foods. And generally, the FDA doesn't want consumers to exceed 3 grams per day from foods and supplements combined. Now, one point for use, one really noteworthy point that's a condition for using this claim that a lot of companies are unaware of is that it's the last bullet on the right-hand side of this table. The food ingredient must be an approved food additive, an FDA affirmed as GRAS ingredient, or if you've done a self-determination of GRAS, you must notify the FDA, and the FDA has to respond with no objection to that notification. So basically, that means a self-determination of GRAS on its own without notifying FDA means you technically cannot be using this qualified health claim in your labeling and advertising, well, specifically labeling. So moving on now to Europe. A lot of activity has been, happening in Europe with regards to claims. The two broad categories of claims that exist in Europe are very similar to the other jurisdictions. We have nutrition claims, and then we have health claims. And then underneath the category of health claims, we have Article 13.1, which are structure-function claims, 13.5, which are also structure-function claims but are based on new and emerging scientific evidence. And then we have Article 14 claims, which are either disease risk reduction or relate to children's health and development. Now, the European Commission is the regulatory body. The opinions on these claims, however, come from the European Food Safety Authority, which is a scientific body. And the European Food Safety Authority has its opinions, the Commission reviews them, and whatever they adopt can actually be consistent or different from what was in EFSA's scientific opinion. And I'll show you some examples of that. So if we look at some of the permissible nutrition claims that are possible in the European Union, we have source of omega-3 fatty acids and high omega-3 fatty acids. And you can look at the conditions for use of those claims on the right-hand side. If we now turn to Article 13 health claims, you can see we have DHA contributes to the maintenance of normal brain function, DHA contributes to the maintenance of normal vision, and EPA and DHA contribute to the normal function of the heart. Now, these claims have actually been adopted by the Commission. And if you Google European Union Register of Nutrition and Health Claims, it's a searchable website where you can actually search for all the claims that are authorized or that have not been authorized by the Commission. These ones are all authorized, which means when the regulation that's recently come out, Regulation 432-2012, that was published on May 16th of this year, and it comes into effect December 14th of this year. After December 14th, these are the only structure function type claims that will be permissible in food labeling and advertising. So if we look now at the Article 14 health claims, no disease risk reduction claims for DHA and EPA have been approved. However, we do have Article 14 health claims relating to children's health and development. So we have DHA intake contributes to the normal visual development of infants up to 12 months of age. We have a couple for maternal intake and contribution to the normal development of the eye, fetus, and breastfed infants, and then DHA maternal intake contributes to the normal brain development of the fetus and breastfed infants. And these maternal supplementation claims actually did not receive favorable opinions from EFSA. However, the Commission has gone ahead and adopted them. There are a couple of claims that were found by EFSA to be scientifically substantiated. However, they have not been adopted by the Commission, which means that by December 14th of this year, these claims will not be permissible. So DHA and normal blood concentrations of triglycerides, it was found to be scientifically substantiated by EFSA. However, the claim has not been adopted by the Commission. EPA and DHA and normal blood pressure, normal blood concentrations of triglycerides, those two as well have not been adopted by the Commission despite favorable EFSA opinions. And then finally, the last two, normal brain function and normal vision, these claims have been adopted but only for DHA. And the original opinions included both EPA and DHA. So a little bit of a difference based on what EFSA found to be substantiated and based on what the Commission actually adopted into regulation. Now, I thought this would be interesting for all of you to see. These are claims that actually were petitioned for and that the European Food Safety Authority found not to be scientifically substantiated. So looking at DHA and/or EPA, blood glucose levels maintenance, HDL and LDL cholesterol level maintenance, protection of the skin from photooxidative damage. And you can go on and see there's some related to immune system, mood, protection of blood lipids from oxidative damage, maintenance of a normal body weight, etc., spermatozoa motility. All of these were found not to be scientifically substantiated. And of course, they were not adopted by the Commission. So now moving to Japan. Japan has a FASHU system. So FASHU stands for Foods for Specified Health Use. And claim approvals there are product specific. So they're not made on the ingredient, like EPA, DHA. They're made on the food containing the ingredient. And so an example of a FASHU claim that's been approved for a food containing omega-3s is, as this product contains DHA or EPA, it has the action of lowering serum triglycerides. It is a food suited for the person who worries about serum triglycerides. And you can see what the conditions for use of the claim are. And now finally moving to Australia, New Zealand, there is a draft regulation. It's called Draft Proposal P293 on nutrition, health, and related claims. And here you can see that there are some claims that currently are in draft regulation form, but likely will be adopted. Claims related to the nutritional content, so contains, good source, increased omega-3 fatty acids. And also, we have likely a permissible health claim that will come into existence in Australia and New Zealand, EPA and DHA, but not omega-3. So you must actually specify EPA and DHA contribute to heart health. And again, you could see the conditions on the right for use of the claim. So final slide here, closing remarks. Claims for permissible for EPA and DHA differ according to jurisdiction. And there's a couple of factors that really dictate what claims will and will not be permissible. And these include what the available claim categories are. So again, Canada permits therapeutic claims. Other jurisdictions don't. They reserve therapeutic claims for drugs. There's also the issue of what the regulatory review and approval process is. US, none exist for structure function claims. So there may be more liberty in what can be said in the labeling of dietary supplements with structure-function claims. Canada, again, has the most extensive listing of claims that can be made on NHP-like products. US, as I mentioned, they really don't have a review process for structure-function claims, but one factor that always needs to be kept in mind is the issue of litigation and also the Federal Trade Commission that's always watching the types of claims that are being made. Japan, we talked about, the process there is food specific. A new application is needed for every new food that includes EPA or DHA. And then EU, we have a lack of congruency between EFSA opinions and claims that were ultimately adopted by the Commission. And it's unclear at this stage what the Commission is going to do with those claims specifically related to triglyceride maintenance and blood pressure maintenance that were found to be supported by EFSA. And I think the biggest hurdle, specifically in North America, is really defining the essentiality of the long-chain omega-3 fatty acids. In other words, really trying to understand what the DRIs are. And I think once that hurdle is conquered, then there will be a lot more flexibility in the types of claims that we can make for these ingredients. Thank you.